My name is Gadako Richard, and today I'm going to attack the biggest thing that has taken over the self-improvement sphere, and that is the red pill epidemic. First, let's uncover what the red pill even is, alright? The red pill is deeper than the misogyny that is correlated with its name. It's actually kind of about accepting the realities about this world, bro, in regards to men, politics, women, status, money, and ultimately just human nature itself. Yes, there may be a few individuals who subscribe to these red pill ideologies a little bit too religiously, but as we may know, they actually have psychological voids that they're trying to fill, and we can get into that a little bit later. Overall, though, it actually does give us men, young men especially, something to run with while improving ourselves on a daily basis. You know, it's allowing us to adapt to the circumstances and just simply become greater versions of ourselves. The first thing I want to unpack is that although the red pill has woken a lot of us up and saved us from the treacherous traps that we would have fallen into otherwise, there's still a downside to subscribing to this ideology. But let's first unveil some of the reasons why you even subscribe to it in the first place. I could go off, bro, like some of the feminists and simply just say that, you know, you're insecure, you have nothing better to do other than just make fun of women in your free time. But that's just not the case. When ideas like the red pill are pushed out, and it's pushed out on such mass levels, and a whole bunch of people can relate to it and subscribe to it such immediately, like for example people like Andrew Tate, what does that tell you? It tells you that there's simply just a large demand for those ideas. People wouldn't buy Coca-Cola if they didn't want it or feel they needed the product itself. With that being said, a lot of men, especially young men like myself, need to hear such things that keep themselves awake. Things like maybe not pouring so much into women or not believing everything that the government tells you, and being aware that throughout your life as a man, no one's gonna come to save you, and you have to be prepared for the dark, sad, and lonely times that are gonna follow. The red pill ideology has changed my life, bro, and it's actually gotten me further along my self-improvement journey and further into my success with women than I would have with my old ideologies. And I'm also not blind to all the big media, the marketing, and the propaganda that's actually taking place within our world as well. And that's one thing that the red pill actually helped me overcome. That mental castration. Nothing's wrong with the former part of this statement, but what's sad is that only 40% of individuals follow the red pill for that reason. The other 60% of men who subscribe to the red pill movement are blind. Blind to the main fact that the only reason that they chant behind masculine movements is because they lack masculinity themselves. The red pill movement allows a whole bunch of men to justify their inability to make money, get women, or become the best versions of themselves. For example, bro, I hear loads of people either in person or online, and people like Fresh and Fit's podcast, usually kind of in their comment section, whether it be in the lives or in their actual YouTube videos. I hear it. Every man saying bullshit things like, you know what, there's no way I'm going to stay here in the West because the women are westernized and delusional. My main philosophy here, bro, is that if a woman flakes, rejects, breaks up, or doesn't respond to you, it's not because of her standards or westernized delusions. It's because you as a man didn't make her feel compelled to give you her attention. Stop blaming the other gender for your insignificancies and just get the fuck to work. But they all carry this statement for a reason why they're not getting any sexual access, rather than simply just looking back at the man in the mirror and maybe just saying, maybe I'm fat, maybe I'm broke, maybe I'm just too ugly, or maybe I just don't have the inability to garner a woman's attention. A lot of us just really don't want to face this truth, and it kind of took me a while to want to face this truth as well, bro. The truth that nobody wants you, especially at a young age. We know that no one's going to want you, right? But no one is going to want you, and nobody will until you realize the problem is you, not them. Bro, it's never them, it's always you. You subscribe to the echo chamber simply because it's easier to blame feminism than the lack of masculinity. Now that we got that out of the way, let's dig a little bit deeper into how this mindset is being degenerative rather than productive for you. How it's damaging you. Hate to break it to you, brother, but you're no different from these women who are scrolling on TikTok 24/7 and doing all those dances in their free time on top of, using slang that they see in everyday memes. What they're doing is walking around with the mind of their social media feed rather than a mind of their own. It took me a while to accept this reality, bro, and it took me a couple conversations with other people and a couple of females, and it's the reality that some of the philosophies that I followed regarding women, along with kind of my worldviews, were just simply ones that I adopted from my social media feed. Honestly, because it was just the easier thing to do. I want you to ask yourself these questions, bro. Do you really care about a woman's body count? Do you really care if a girl has an OnlyFans account? Is any of that kind of stuff going to stop you from sticking your dick inside of her or giving her your time and attention? Just think about it hard, bro. Just think about it hard, because it's easy to have standards behind a keyboard and when speaking about it in third person, bro. But when you're actually in this situation, it's completely different. Because if a woman who didn't fully meet your standards was bent over on your bed right now, I know 90% of us wouldn't have the strength to walk away. And don't lie to yourself here, bro. If a woman was a little bit overweight, she did all these bad habits that you said you didn't even like, you're telling me you're not going to smash. You're telling me you may not compromise just a little bit. You probably would. And I would too. I'm not lying. And I did. I was with a woman who had a crazy past and habits that I said the woman that I want to spend my time with wouldn't have or wouldn't do. But yet I compromised. And the only reason is why? Because I was getting sex. I compromised my standards for pleasure. And the only reason I put them in quotation marks is because they weren't my standards to begin with. They were the standards set by the algorithms of my social media feeds. Don't be a slave to your algorithms. You'll just lose yourself and ultimately just become another mentally castrated NPC. But besides the point, bro. What this is doing is just stripping you of the ability to actually critically think about the things that you believe in. The only reason why we actually lack so many philosophers nowadays is just because nobody actually takes time to sit in their own ideas. We've become so mentally castrated that we just easily and blindly subscribe to any ideas that are just there because it's the most convenient thing to do. It's hard to actually think if you really have these standards. Rather just let me just look. Is there over 500,000 men who say they don't want to grow with OnlyFans? Then I don't either, because that's easy and it's convenient. But have you actually ever thought through your own standards, bro? Have you ever done that? Lastly, this causes loads of men to withdraw from even interacting with the other gender. The only gender that will actually allow you to push forward your family lineage. And also that will allow you to find something bigger than yourself when you leave this earth. But nowadays, we all cope with things like, I'm just focusing on myself. Women are a distraction. And I just need to work really hard right now. These are all low-key coping mechanisms, bro. Because we all would want to smash right now. And we all would want a girlfriend. So don't even lie. But the crazy thing is most of the men who are using these coping mechanism lines are actually just decently looking incels. They're actually involuntarily celibate. Let me explain what I mean here. You avoid women not only because you can't and don't know how to get them, but you also think that they're the reason for your inability to actually sleep with them. In your mind, they're evil, hypergamous, delusional females who don't know what they want, right? You're blaming the other gender for your inability to sexually connect with them, which honestly I think is the greatest modern phenomenon, parallel to the LGBTQ identity crisis, but we'll get into that later. But what does this result in for you, dog? It actually kind of results in a slight but very vibrant resentment towards the female counterpart. Don't you want to have a family with grandkids and again, maybe something to leave behind other than your big bank account and your status? So what do we have to do here, dog? We have to work to remove that resentment and remove that hatred. The first step to removing the hatred or resentment that you have towards the other gender is to actually just remove the blame you've pinned upon them. And I mean, yes, some females could be delusional or are delusional because a large percentage of them aren't even deserving of the things that they're requiring, not only from men, but also from the world themselves. Like, for example, 300-pound plus women who are getting pissed at big corporations who aren't catering to their degenerative lifestyles with plus size clothing. I've never seen something so fucking absurd. I eat like shit on a daily basis. I'm 300 plus. I'm a big woman, and these companies won't cater. They won't give me a plus size clothing section. Get in the gym, bitch. Okay, that's not the point. But you see what I'm saying here. There's also a large sum of them who are requiring an unfathomable amount of income and crazy physical standards that they couldn't even keep up themselves. Besides the point, dog, we need to actually understand the role that women play within our society, bro. They dictate our future based on whom they decide to mate with. We're an animal kingdom, and natural selection is and always will be at work. Jordan Peterson once said that if you're a man and you get rejected by a woman, not only is she saying no, but on a biological level, she is saying that you're not worthy of her time, and by the looks of it, your genes don't even deserve to persist through time. And that fucking hurts. For real. But with that being said, it's deeper than delusion. It's deeper than the West. It's biological. For some reason, these women are becoming even more hypersensitive to whom they choose to have kids with or allow within their lives. Yes, social media could and actually is playing a role in this, as we've known based off the studies that, social media is actually taking a toll on hypergamy or increasing the hypergamous activity within our nation. But besides the point, it's not even something to be overlooked. Yes, social media could be taking a toll and taking a factor in it, but we still shouldn't overlook it. Have you ever just stopped and thought to yourself, why are the standards so high for us men? I read a study on natural disasters and the survival rates from gender to gender, and the data says that women are actually just way less likely to survive within natural disasters than men. And there's actually two main reasons for that. One of them obviously being physical, and the next is because women just simply have way more to worry about. So when those natural disasters do come into effect, they're scrambling, they don't necessarily know what to do. And those things that they need to worry about is obviously the kids they have now and the kids that they could be having in the near future, right? So they have more to worry about, their offspring and their offspring and future offspring. So to bring together my point as concisely as I can, the main reason why the standard is actually becoming so high for these women is because they may not be aware, like on the surface, they may not be aware of the attack that's happening to masculinity, but they're not blind to it. They can see that men are actually becoming weak and frail in their bodies, unable to keep conversations going, and can't even hold eye contact with a woman for 5+ seconds. They also see the financial disasters that are falling upon us as a nation. So can you fucking blame them for demanding more out of us? Can you blame them? We're supposed to be the protectors and the providers. Can you blame them, bro? Look at our society. Now, the question comes, bro. Are you going to complain, avoid, and lean into pornography for your sexual desires? Or are you going to accept the fact that the standards are becoming risen and you need to just get the fuck to work? Acceptance and hard work. The standards are becoming higher, bro. They want a man who can speak multiple languages. They want a man who spends time improving his lot, pursues greatness, rejects immediate pleasure, and rejects anything that damages his soul, as this creates a man who's actually worth being around. They want a man who doesn't complain like you, waste time like you, or beat his meat to pixels like you. Like, bro, honestly, they had to lie themselves to be attracted to dad bods, as this was the only fucking available thing for them to mate with. How sad is that, bro? To conclude this whole point, bro, are you going to continue to hate on women for them expecting more, call them delusional for having high standards, or are you simply just going to work harder to meet them? Because you getting mad at women wanting certain things means you're telling yourself that you're unable to obtain it. And how frail of a mental framework is that? So accept it and get the fuck to work. Let's make those delusions a reality for our future wives, because obviously that's the only woman that matters. Eliminating delusions. Women are delusional. Yeah, bro. Of course they are. We all are, bro. And I mean, I'm sure I don't even want to unpack their delusions, as I'm sure you're highly aware of them all. But have you spent time looking into your own self-delusions? I can say that I have, bro, because I'm delusional to think that I'm going to get gym results in a few weeks. And I just also recently found out that I'm delusional enough to expect a woman to allow me to treat her just like another one of my hoes when I've brought nothing to the table to justify her tolerance of my behavior. I'm fat, I'm broke, and I have nothing to give her except for my sex and time. So how can I think she's going to allow me to act like such an immature bastard? For real. For clarity's sake, bro, the best framework to have is to ask yourself the same question that Fresh and Fit drills those poor females on their podcasts with. How can you expect a traditional woman when you're not a traditional man yourself? Build the standards for yourself and keep them. And then you can start demanding from women, bro. Simply put. To bring this whole video to an end, I just want to call this red pill mindset an epidemic that has fallen upon my youthful brothers and also fallen upon myself. The one thing that I'll say is do not subscribe to these ideas so easily. Check if you really hold the standards yourself before you start demanding them from the other gender. Like, do you even give a fuck about body count? Ask yourself that. Have you smashed a girl with more than 2 bodies? Then that means you don't give a fuck. Start building a mind of yourself, bro, rather than the mind of your social media feed, because this will cause you to start building resentment for the side that your social media is attacking. It will also cause you to start blaming the other side for your shortcomings. And what this does is it robs you of the responsibility that's required for you to even be a man, the responsibility of improving yourself. Lastly, the standards are rising. Stop complaining and just work harder to reach them. If they want 100K, if they want a 6-pack, if they want 6 inches, if they want you to speak multiple languages, if they want this, want that, want this, want this, want that, then work harder to become that man. Love you. Start off tomorrow strong, G. Peace.